I was supposed to be JoJo White. I was supposed to grow up and be, this strong point guard something, or at least, be the next Thomas Henderson. And I went to the biggest football factory in Texas at that time. I went to Reagan High School, which Emerson will know. 3 years after the school was open, they won the state champion. You gotta understand the state of Texas. And I tried out for the football team, I didn't make it. And worse, I was in the choir. I coined the term choir jock. So you can imagine the stuff that I got but I wanted to play football. I was good enough to be on the basketball team. And I was sort of bemoaning the fact that it wasn't fair. My neighbor made the team, I didn't. And my father said something to me. And parents can say stuff and it'll just stick somewhere in a sticky place in the back of your mind. And he said, yeah, I know you're disappointed. He said, but I've watched you. And he said, you have one gift, and I'm not gonna mention the kid because he later did, that he doesn't. He said, because you work harder. And he said, if you work hard, you may not be the tallest, you may not be the strongest and the fastest, but if you keep working harder, you can end up being the best. And so it took me a long time, I'll be honest, to embrace the fact my talent wasn't gonna be, as a superstar athlete, because, people, I knew Thurgood Marshall did, nobody else did, but by the time I got out of law school and all the girls who thought I was a geek when I was in high school, because I was a little choir boy and all that, well, by the time we got through all that and everybody wasn't in the NFL and that, and all of a sudden little Ronnie Kirk's, this nice lawyer driving a BMW, my life got a little bit better. So, I had dealt with other disappointments in my life. And when I ran for the Senate, I to some degree I was advantaged because Texas didn't have a single Democratic statewide holder. This wasn't, and George Bush was president. John Cornyn was his handpicked guy. I was a long shot, but at least we made that race competitive and people believed, this knucklehead might do it. So one, I took comfort from the fact that I thought I ran as credible and strong a race as I could. And the one thing you hear from athletes sometimes, and I know a lot of people got mad, I know I'm talking around, when Michael Irvin said 4 or 5 weeks ago, he said, you know what? Might not hurt the Cowboys to drop one game on the way. Because he said, you just learn more from a loss. He says, because when you're winning, you go to film session and you kind of hear the coach say, Everson, your technique's off or something, but you're going, come on, man, we 14-1. But when you lose, you sit down and go, I don't like that feeling. What did I learn from it? And it did. And again, when you talk about character, I think people's character is so much more revealed when they go through a loss, a pain, and how they deal with that. And I think because of all the life's things I had, it hurt. But I went home and I looked and thought, man, I sure got a pretty wife. And I sure got 2 really good kids. And you know what? I got a great job and the sun's come up and, people aren't throwing stuff at me on the streets. And I thought, you know what? I was blessed to be in this fight. And I learned more about myself, mainly because I could walk off that field and I forget what one, coaches love, giving that great quote about being the man in the arena. I walk off bloodied, but unbowed. They beat me, but they didn't kill me. And I could at least walk away and say, you know what? I gave that everything I had. I didn't leave anything on the table. I gave it all my physical, emotional, intellectual, I did everything I could. And you know what? That wasn't meant for me. And going back to that faith, and I thought, it wasn't. But God had something else in mind for me. And I ended up moving to a bigger law firm. I had the opportunity to go serve on different corporate boards. And as I referenced, I developed this friendship with this young kid I'd met who ended up being somebody really special. And I ended up with the privilege of a lifetime, not only serving in our cabinet, but serving in our cabinet in a capacity that I traveled the world representing the United States of America. So, we all deal with losses, and you hear people say it, and it sounds cliche, but you don't park by that pity. You gotta get up. You gotta get up.